So in this lecture, we're going to take a little look at float. So float is used to specify whether or not an element should float. By setting the value, every element after is affected by the float value unless you use the clear command. And we can use various things such as floating images, the text wraps, etc. So what float does in essence is it's a positioning functionality. You will use float, say float left as an example, within your class or ID CSS, and what that does is it takes the object, let's call it an object, but the ID or the class element, and it will float it to either the left or the right or whatever you specify. So in that context, if for example you have a div, okay, and inside that div you have an image and you have some text, what you can do is you can set your image to float left or right, and what happens then is the text will flow around that image. It's a nice effect. However, everything after that float command will continue taking the same effect, so it will kind of carry on to the next value will float left and the next one will float left. So what you do, as we've did in our web page that we created earlier, you need to use the clear both, and what that does, it resets that float value, as it were, the element, so that it stops using the float. So float basically is used to allow you to set the position of an element within your container or your div, which is a container in itself, inside the container it's in. Float, probably one of the most used commands you will use when doing your CSS styling. It's amazing how many times you use float.